welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline, live in the BPTV studios. If you look below, you'll see the BPTV all lit up. I'm not sure how that shows on your screen. They were working on that today, and it seems lit up. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We've got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and we'll talk a bunch of sports to you. You can watch us on Verizon 32 from Nemacolin to Cranberry Wexford and everywhere in between. Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. And thanks for the people shouting out that they're watching us. Their parents are watching us, their aunts, their uncles. Just appreciate all of that. And we got likes, 5,836 likes on Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We start our first segment with What's on Your Mind, and we're going to start that right now. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. My old high school option quarterback days.
Quarterback.
little razzle dazzle, huh?
But what's actually on my mind is, first of all, want to hand out some newspapers here.
All right.
I want to thank Chip Hayner, and although I didn't make the front cover, although it looks like it, but I had a big article here on Muhammad Ali, and Chip Hayner from Pittsburgh Sportsline was nice enough to put it in. And then on the back cover, we got some Ali clippings and highlights. So outstanding paper. I want to thank you, Chip, for your quote. Al Levine, the talking machine's quote almost made it. What's on my mind is shout out to the Pens. As we predicted, the Pens will win the Stanley Cup. I'm also predicting the Pirates will win the World Series. The Steelers will win the Super Bowl. The Pittsburgh Passion will win another championship. Got to give all credit to Al Levine, the talking machine. He predicted before the season that the Pittsburgh Penguins would win the Stanley Cup. But I'm making another bold prediction when it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins, is that they will win back-to-back Stanley Cup. So very impressed with the Penguins. And as I wrap up, Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers of all time. Shout out to Gordie Howe, one of the greatest hockey players, if not the greatest hockey player of all time. And we just seen a magazine cover maybe last week with Gordie Howe in 1969 on the cover. Ernie brought it, and rest in peace, Gordie. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Let me pass it.
Yeah, I will use these in a minute. What's on my mind, and I was probably one of the most outspoken critics of the Pittsburgh Penguins as we traveled through the season, and the performance of some of the stars and some of the things that the Penguins do. And unfortunately, for once, I'm happy that I was wrong. Congratulations to the Penguins. They did something that back in November and December, I thought that they didn't have a chance of even making the playoffs. Not only did they make the playoffs, they were the most dominant team going into the playoffs, and they dominated everybody that they played. The new head coach really made a big difference. Got everybody to buy into his system. Jim Rutherford, the general manager of the team, who I felt was nothing short of being a buffoon in September, October, and in November, turned out to be a genius. And he made quite a number of moves that made this Stanley Cup championship possible. So, Jim Rutherford, I tip my hat to you. The criticism, even though it was coming from a place of love and passion for my team and seeing them underachieve, they proved me wrong, and that's okay this time. But congratulations to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They did something that is I think very, very remarkable in professional sports. There wasn't a chance that I thought that they would make it this far. They believed in themselves, and that was more of a team victory than any other championship that I saw, because it wasn't because of our stars. It was for all the role players that that contributed, and that's really the epitome of what a championship is about. Is it's a team goal, and they certainly did it as a unit. So tomorrow, Pittsburgh, enjoy your crowd down at the point. I'm not going to be anywhere near there.
Very good. Well, I'll make it unanimous on the Penguins. I did go out on a limb at the beginning of the season when we make our predictions. I felt that they had the talent. They had had a lack of power the last few years. Little did I know that you would need to get a new coach, that you'd have to have Fleury standing on his head, literally, making saves the beginning part of the year. You'd have Malkin carrying the team on his back. Then he got injured. Of course, we got the new head coach, Sullivan, who happened to bring up players from the AHL who he coached, so they knew his system. So all the stars come together, and it was a team effort, which Chip alluded to, and I'll go one better. You always hear about the next man up. We hear it with the Steelers, although we're disappointed most of the time. This time, the next man up proved to be the man in the game, each game. Look at the guys that were there, that injured at the end.
Look at the more importantly, look at the rookies that made an impact, and they had an impact in every single game.
Without a doubt, the speed, the forechecking, they changed the game. You're going to see a lot of teams starting to copy what the Penguins did. That's how outstanding it was. So I'm glad, that I did predict it. It worked out. As far as the other predictions, I don't know about those teams right now. We'll talk about that in some later segments. We'll touch on that. Smoking Jim's predicting everything. The Pittsburgh Passion did win their first playoff game this past week as they get into the rounds for going to be a three-peat. So that's what I predicted before, and I'm still staying with it. They did lose one game this year, and they're still winning now. So go Passion, and thanks for watching the show. We're going to continue with our next segments. We got Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Woo, I'm back here quick. I got a quick question before I get into my segment. Would you guys have voted for Sidney Crosby for the MVP, or would you have voted somebody else? I was kind of surprised.
I would have voted for somebody else, and I honestly think Phil Kessel was was a deserving candidate. And I think the two most deserving candidates were Phil Kessel and Matt Murray. Okay. And I think, and I could be wrong on this, but the award's voted on by sports writers, and because of the trials and tribulations that Sidney Crosby has gone through and what he's meant to the game of hockey in the last 10 years, it's the only award that he hasn't won in his entire career.
We don't want to make Canada.
So we filled his trophy case. There isn't any other awards for him to win, but I don't have a problem with him winning. I just thought Phil Kessel was.
How about you, Machine?
Kessel.
Kessel, that's who I'd have voted for too.
He was outstanding. In Toronto, he was mistreated. He took out a full-page ad thanking Toronto fans. So you've got to give him some credit there.
Well, the fiction.
Are you ready now?
I am ready.
Are you sure?
And my fiction, in fact, from Smoking Jim's Almanac kind of ties in a little bit. Excuse me. Woo.
Whoa. Take a little drink there.
I think I'll be all right with hockey. I've never seen the mania that the fans had with the Penguins. You're talking about 20,000 fans inside the arena and another 19 to 40,000 fans outside the arena, and they just love their hockey. And I think about it all the time. All those fans who were stuck outside the arena would love to have gone inside and sat there with some of the Steelers wearing black and gold. And I'm probably the only sports writer who has a press pass that could have gotten into the games for free. But I don't believe in abusing my sports pass like most of the sports writers and sports people who were down there, because your press pass is only for working media. So if you're not writing a story or covering it for TV, you're supposed to pay like everybody else. And I never abused it. And the reason why is how I got the press pass in the first place. This is going back a ways, back in the early 2000s. We were doing a show similar to the show that Alan Levine, the Talking Machine, and I do in restaurants. We were doing it at the Crawford Grill in Station Square. And we meet this professional boxer named Vaquan the Show Kimbrough. And the girls was going crazy about this guy. He's like 18, 19 years old at the time. He's a professional fighter, bypassed the Olympics for big money. Well, he invited us to come watch him fight at the Mountaineer. So we get down to Mountaineer, and I'm all excited. I haven't seen a live boxing match in a long time, and I didn't know where my seats were, right? So all I wanted to do was get to my seat. So I get down right by the ring, and I see my name right there, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching a fight, I'm getting blood on me, I can almost reach out and grab the ring card girls, and I was excited, so I was hooked. And so 3 months later, I make a phone call. The next fights, I wanted to get in because the person that initially got us in ended up getting fired from Mountaineer.
Okay.
A photographer named Kenny O. And he was fired from Mountaineer or suspended. And so he couldn't get us in again, so I called the Pittsburgh Courier because my name was associated with them when I got the pass. And I called the Pittsburgh Courier and I says, hey, can you get me press passes like you did before? And they cussed me out for about 45 minutes, and was Sonia Toller at the time, who now works for the police force, right?
Yeah.
And she cussed me out for about 45 minutes, and I felt so bad. And I says, what happened? She says, a guy by the name of Bill Neal, our friend, misrepresented the Courier. He wasn't with the Courier at the time. And he got in, and most people don't know that knows public relations. Public relations is relating to the public. So if in fair exchange, if I'm a sports writer and you let me into your event because for free, my fair exchange is to write a story.
Sure.
And that's free publicity for you. Well, Mountaineer has people that they hire to make sure that that story gets written. And they called the Courier and cussed the Courier out. And the Courier has a hard time, any newspaper has a hard time getting advertising dollars
Sure.
when people misrepresent them. So I'll finish it up real quick. So anywho,
No, take your time. I want to hear the truth.
so I asked the Courier, I says, well, I can write a story on the fight. So they're like, can you write? I was like, yeah. So I go to the fights, and afterwards on a Sunday, my best friend at the time was the beautiful Miss Esther Nunez, who at the time was the second ranked #2 nationally salsa dancer. And I could not figure out for the life of me how to get started writing this article. I didn't know if you had to write in small columns, and I didn't know, man. And at the time, I didn't have a home computer. So I went to CCAC on Monday morning. I couldn't figure out how to even get started. The deadline was at noon. And I went to CCAC. I wasn't a student there, but I was able to use student computer in the library. I sat there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11:30. And all of a sudden, I just started typing and didn't proofread it, nothing, sent it in. And when I got it, I read it, and I was like reading it for the first time. The Courier hired me right after that, and that's how
The rest is history,
The
right?
rest is history, man.
In
So
2000,
that was
2001.
that was in the early 2000s, right?
Say we can't pin it down to anything.
But
But the fight you saw was in 2000.
it was in the early 2000s, yeah.
Okay.
We're not getting any. We're not getting
We're
any closer
losing
to
traction now.
But yeah, so that's why, even though I could have gotten into the Penguin game for free, with no questions asked with my press pass, I will never abuse a press pass unless Beyonce comes back again. I'm backstage, brother. And that's Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
Good luck, Sindel.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. All right, Chip, are we ready for some trivia time?
Yeah, we are ready for some trivia time. I can read.
All right.
I can read. But first up on my trivia tonight, paying tribute to the great Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe was 88 years old when he passed away, and he earned the nickname of Mr. Hockey.
Really?
And up until the time when Wayne Gretzky set all his records and became the greatest, Gordie Howe was the icon. And just to give you an idea of how long this man dominated,
Whoa.
how long this man dominated the hockey world, Gordie Howe's career started in 1946. His career ended in 1980. Okay.
Wow.
In his NHL career, he played in 1,767 games. He scored 801 goals, 1,049 assists for a total of 1,850 points. Wow. Also, as part of his resume, he also played a number of years in the World Hockey Association, which was around for a number of years before they became absorbed by the NHL. And in his World Hockey career, he scored a total of 508 points. He scored 175 goals and 354 assists. So that makes Gordie Howe's career numbers 2,358 total points, 1,850 assists. Oh, okay, it was 2,358. Goals he scored 976 goals in his career. Now, just to give you an idea of, the kind of numbers that he put up, Wayne Gretzky played in an era in hockey where they scored goals. You needed a computer to calculate how many goals were scored. Wayne Gretzky has the record for most goals in the NHL. He scored 894 goals. Okay, he had 1,963 assists. His point total for his career was 2,857. But if you combine Gordie Howe's 175 and his 801 goals in the NHL, he outscored the great Wayne Gretzky, but he didn't come close to what Wayne Gretzky did in assists. But Wayne Gretzky always looked up to Gordie Howe as being his mentor. Helped him when he first started in the professional hockey, because when Wayne Gretzky first started his professional hockey career, he was playing in the World Hockey Association. And that was before Edmonton became part of the NHL. Okay, so, he was very much in tune with Gordie Howe and the impact that he had on the game. We could spend an entire hour talking about the contributions of Gordie Howe, but there's no need to do that this week. But we do need to pay recognition to the achievements that he had and what he did for the game of hockey. So sorry to see that Gordie's passing, but he truly will be missed.
And Chip, he played to the age of 52.
Played to the age of 52, but I mean, your career from 1946 to 1980. Most professional careers are a handful of years.
Yeah.
And he could have been playing with the grandchildren of people that he played against.
Put me in the Miami Yager.
We'll wait and see.
So now we're going to get to a little bit of baseball trivia. We'll get this wrapped up. Now that I'm borrowing my friend Jim's readers here, I can see
again.
Got them from Jet Magazine.
On June 10th, 1921, Babe Ruth accomplished something that stood until 1974.
Wow.
And Babe Ruth became baseball's career home run leader by hitting his 120th home run off of Cleveland's Jim Bagby in the third inning. 1921. He led all of majors, most home runs, 120. Now, obviously, 713 home runs later. He set a major league record that stood for 53, 54 years.
That's great.
That's a pretty amazing statistic. June 10th, 1944, Joe Nuxhall, at 15 years old, 10 months, and 11 days, became the youngest player in Major League history when he pitched 2/3 of an inning for the Cincinnati Reds in an 18-0 loss to the St. Louis Cardinals. Can you imagine being 15 years old, pitching in the major leagues?
No.
Other pitching feats of note, June 11th, 1938, and I've talked about this probably the last 2 years, and I'll talk about it for the next 20. Johnny Vandermeer hurled the first of 2 consecutive no-hitters as the Cincinnati Reds beat the Boston Braves. Wow. That's another one of those feats that I feel will never be broken, like DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. And, oh, by the way, bringing up DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak, June 14th, 1978, Pete Rose of the Cincinnati Reds had 2 hits and a 3-1 triumph over the Chicago Cubs to start his 44-game hitting streak.
I like that one.
And unfortunately, he didn't have enough gas in the tank to make it to 56. You knew I couldn't resist that, right, Jim? Also, I like to bring up a lot of different firsts, but in 1963, June 9th, the very first Sunday night game in Major League history was played because of excessive heat during the day. The Houston Colt 45s handed the San Francisco Giants their 7th straight loss in Houston. 3-0, Turk Farrell and Skinny Brown pitched the shutout.
What year?
1963, the very first Sunday night game. It was the Houston Colt 45s, which were later named the Houston Astros. And you imagine it was too hot to play ball in the daytime. I don't know. I guess they've never been to St. Louis before,
No.
have they?
No, they missed it.
Okay, Philadelphia's Jimmy Fox, June 8th, 1933. Homered in his first 3 at-bats, all off of Lefty Gomez as the A's beat the Yankees 14-10. Fox had homered his last time up the previous day to tie a Major League record of hitting 4 consecutive home runs. Bobby Lowe did it in 1894. And there is somebody else, and I think that I may come across here, but got a few more of them here, and I won't make this long. And, you know, I always like to pay tribute to who I feel is the legitimate home run king of Major League Baseball. Hank Aaron's grand slam pushed the Atlanta Braves to a 15-3 rout over the Philadelphia Phillies on June 10th, 1972. What's significant about this? It was Aaron's 649th home run, moving him ahead of Willie Mays into second place on the career home run list. It was also his 14th grand slam, tying Gil Hodges' National League record. And we've got another little piece of Pete Rose trivia because he was such a astute singles hitter. Pete Rose singled in the first inning off Nolan Ryan, gave him 3,630 hits, tying Stan Musial's National League record. Yeah, I like to make sure that Pete gets his nose. And last but not least, an athlete who is, I believe, in the neighborhood of 30 hits away from 3,000 for his career. And actually, if you would count the hits that he had over in Japan and add them to what he's accomplished in the major leagues, he would be the all-time hits leader of all organized baseball. Ichiro Suzuki on June 14th, 2005, became the 3rd player since 1900 to reach 1,000 hits in fewer than 700 games when he singled in the bottom of the first inning in a 3-1 win over Philadelphia. Suzuki's 100th hit came in his 696th game. Chuck Klein reached the mark in 1933 in 683 games, and Lloyd Wainer reached it in 1932 in 686 games. Wow. But Ichiro, even though he's in his 40s and he's kind of lost a step, he will probably reach the 3,000 hit mark this before the end of this season. I believe he's about 30 to 35 hits away. And if you really want to watch somebody that really knows how to work a bat, he's been quite an amazing hitter. He averaged in his first 10 seasons in the major over 200 hits per season. And a lot of guys, if they've done that once in their career, That's a benchmark.
Yeah.
He did it every year.
Well, he needs about 4,000 hits to get in the Hall of Fame. So he's out.
I already
out.
think his bust will be there because
4,000 hits.
That's what you need to get in the Hall of Fame anymore.
you know you
Where
just,
are you looking?
You just need
I'm
to do
looking
it.
at Al Oliver, who's not in. He's a little short of.
And I believe that Oliver is a Hall of Fame worthy candidate.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the two gentlemen that played the corner outfield positions in 1971 when the Pirates won the World Series and he was playing center field are both in the Hall of Fame, Clemente and Stargell.
Yeah. Al Oliver will never get in. Neither will Ichiro.
He might get in.
Oh, I guarantee you Ichiro.
When we have another campaign.
Ichiro will definitely get in.
3,000 hits. We ain't
Yeah,
counting
you
at
know what,
Japan.
Jim?
He's not a baseball expert.
3,000 hits in 16 years. Do the math.
He can't.
The guy can ball.
He
He's
can't.
been around 16 years for Seattle.
Well,
Time's getting away from you. We still can't figure out when you got that first press pass.
but that's all I've got for trivia this week.
Thank you, Chip. Appreciate it.
Thank you for
Great
your
job.
Raiders, Jim.
Great job.
I wouldn't have been able
Glad
to do it
Smoking
without
Jim
you.
gave the assist to you.
Oh man, you
Jet
know,
Magazine came
I
through.
tell you what, these HBO over here, you know,
That he is.
helping a brother out.
Well, we got a couple flyers here. First one up is Olive Oil's Pizzeria. They donate a pizza and a hoagie. It was delicious, just excellent. We appreciate it. 412-831-1900. It's a little slow there after the Penguins won the Stanley Cup, so give them a call. Olive Oil's Pizzeria at Hillcrest Shopping Center. Stop in and see everybody there. 412-831-1900. And Chip had mentioned this before off air that we started the show October 11th, 2011. This is the first time that any Pittsburgh team, except for the Pittsburgh Passion, has won a championship.
Wow.
So hat goes off to the Stanley Cup winners there.
Isn't that something?
That's something. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I figured I'd bring it up officially and let you think about that. And another flyer is this Saturday, there's a flea market for slightly used clothes to help the Joey Fabus Foundation. All proceeds go to try to find DIPG. Bring your slightly used clothes, all kinds of things. Whatever you have at home, all proceeds will be there for the Joey Fabus Cancer Foundation. There's a bake sale, and you bring them there Friday night, and they'll put them in organizations in different areas, and they'll mark and tag them, so they'll come up with that. Now, the Bethel Park Community Foundation, you can get a grant for your organization. They got grant money for any groups, project, or activity. Requests are available from $100 to $5,000. Contact bpcf.org, and there's community facilities, opportunities in education and citizens of all ages, expanded recreation and leisure activities, and you name it. They've given out thousands of dollars. They have thousands more to give out, so check it out. And one more thing on the Joey Fabus Cancer Foundation. We always end the show with Stay Joey Strong. This shows you a little photo or two of Joey before DIPG and after it. He died before his 9th birthday. They're trying to get money and donations to help find DIPG, this brain cancer that has cost him his life. Now, on location, we were at PNC Park, Atrias, and it was one of our best shows. We had Lady Steel City Kickball League, the Roger Goodell, Isha. She was telling us there's 5 teams that they have. They just started the league. Very interesting. Smoking Jim is a witness to, a couple of their games?
I went to 3 games on Sunday. They play, there's 5 teams, so they play a double hitter. One of the teams will play a double hitter every Sunday.
Very interesting. We tried to figure out how many players. They can have a maximum of 22 players. So I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, it's really weird because I think what she was saying was there could be 8 players in the outfield, but up to 11 because all the teams had 11 players counting the pitcher and catcher for
Okay.
their outfield, which I've never seen that many players in the
Is that
outfield
for
before.
softball?
For
No,
kickball.
kickball. It's a kickball league.
Yeah, Divas.
Well, we wish them the best of luck. That was very interesting. Then we had Dom Damasky, who wrote a book, Go Ask Dad. Smoking Jim got a copy of the book. Dan Kakutta, it's been 2 years. The last time he was on the show, Chip, was at Sips Sports Bar in 2014. So we didn't realize it was a couple years. So Dan, before he's in training for a fight, and it'll be at the Meadows, before he left to go train, he was visiting on our show and told us a little bit about what he's doing. So good luck, Dan, and good luck. I think it's July 23rd, King of the Cage out at the Meadows, then their 10th. So that was interesting. Then we had Mark Schrader, who has Mark Schrader Martial Arts. He brought about 15 of his teammates and fighters, from a 5.5-year-old to a 7-year-old kids up to the others that have come in and are training. Just, it was an awesome show with, people there. Just nice to have everybody at Atreus PNC Park. All right, let's go.
Can I ask one question before
Yeah,
you
go
get
ahead.
started? Was that the most guests we ever had for a show, or is it close? I know we had to be close.
It's close. It's close. We had a couple teams as big as that before.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know that with the kickball league, I thought it was one team, and that was parts of 4 teams, and one team didn't make it. So, but that was pretty
So they
interesting.
brought the whole league.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Who knows what'll happen there? Thanks for booking that, Smoking Jim. I don't know where you found them or how they come about, but they're great guests. Smoking Jim.
Well, I hated to be on the internet, but I got some breaking news today. You guys may have heard it.
don't know.
Le'Veon Bell had skipped a drug test, resulting in a failure and leaving him vulnerable to a suspension. So that's breaking news
Those,
right
those
now.
rumors were already quashed before. This.
Well, I read the
is just
same. I
today.
read the same article today, and and these players know what the rules are, and I work for a company that does random drug testing.
Okay.
And refusal to take a test is the same as a positive test.
Right.
There isn't any. There's with an explanation. I mean, it's pretty black and white, and if you get called for a test, you got to go and report and
what is
do
my
what you have to do.
philosophy? My philosophy on this, and me and Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip, we've talked about this many, many times. The National Football League, Roger Goodell does not want anybody to fail a marijuana test because, in the words of Ryan Clark, almost everybody on the Steeler team smokes marijuana. And so it's rampant around the league. That's why they tell you when it is. Players get in trouble, like Brian,
Martavis Bryant.
is because when you begin to be randomly tested, once you fail, and Le'Veon Bell, when him and LeGarrette Blount got
Yep.
caught, now he's subject to random testing, and these young guys cannot give up that loud, the marijuana, the black
You know what? I have no. They get no empathy from me on this one.
We need him though. We need
Oh,
him.
we need him, right? And I mean, look at the kind of money that this guy's getting paid. I don't get paid anywhere close to that kind of money, and I'm not going to risk my job by being foolish and doing something that's going to ultimately, if I test positive for it, going to hand me a pink slip. That's just, and the funny thing is that they get suspended, they get slapped on the wrist, but yet they still get to sign multi-million-dollar contracts. In my case, I get a failed drug test. I'm out the door. Then you know what I got to do? I got to go to my next employer and say, hey, the company I've been working for the last 10 years, I just got fired from them for failing a drug
Well, they
test.
gotta fire
So
you.
yeah, go ahead and hire me.
Well, they got to fire you because you drive a truck, and so.
Well,
When did that story come out? Because that was earlier
this afternoon.
today.
It was
Today.
this afternoon.
Then there was before I come to the show, there was a story that debunked that.
Yeah, but what I read about the story that supposedly is that Le'Veon Bell said that's not true. Well,
Well, I got it from a source that let me. I got it in my inbox from a reliable source that led
Who's
me to
that
that
source?
story. I can't reveal my sources.
No, I get
but
it.
he's never steered. He's never been wrong yet, and he told me about it a few days ago, and he's an insider.
Is he Mark Madden? He's
No.
the one that first reported that.
No, but
Mark
he is
Madden
No,
reported
but he
you know
is
what?
an insider.
But
All right.
you know what? These guys just have to learn, you know. Anyway, really, for anybody to get the message, you got to make an example of somebody.
Give him 4 games. We can
that's
get him
what
the
we
rest
need.
of the.
Yeah,
We don't
six.
need him first 4
Jim,
games.
he
6
had-
games.
Six.
He already had 4 games. Once.
He already had it.
Yeah, last year.
No,
Don't you
2.
remember?
That was 2. Remember they cut it
Oh,
to
yeah,
2.
they cut it for 2.
Give him
because
4
he
this
didn't
time.
inhale.
6. No, they'll go 6
He
and
didn't
get 4.
inhale, right? Like
Thank
Slick
you,
Willie.
Smoking Jim, for your
Like Slick
update.
Willie, huh?
Well, we got like 23 minutes to go.
Okay.
Let's talk some Buccos. You got
Let's talk about, let's
Garrett
definitely.
Cole is on the disabled list.
It's on the disabled
backdated.
list with a strained triceps muscle.
Oh, that's bad.
So it's actually not bad. They did an MRI, and there's no structural damage, there's no tendon damage, which are all good things. Now, you know, what the problem this presents to the Pirates, and an already underperforming starting pitching staff,
Which I predicted.
lost the best arm on the team. Now, Jameson Taillon was brought back up. I happened to be at the game last Wednesday night when he had his debut. And I thought Jameson Taillon, for a young kid, at his first game in the major leagues, pitched pretty well for his first time up in the major leagues. He did make one mistake, and he threw a ball a little too fat in the strike zone, and it ended up in the seats in right field. But other than that, I think he handled himself very, very well. And the unfortunate part that the Pirates' pitching staff is in such disarray. We played so many games back to back. We actually played 31 games in 30 days before we got a day off yesterday. That the Taillon had to go back down so that they could bring up arms to
Pitch those
relief
games.
pitchers for the following series because they
what
didn't
a
have
mess.
enough. So, you know, here's what's going on with the Pirates. They've been bitten by the injury bug, losing Francisco Cervelli for 4 to 6 weeks with a broken bone in his hand is going to hurt. And where I really saw the impact of that was, you know, he had surgery on Saturday morning, and Chris Stewart was catching Saturday night. And Saturday night, we let 2 runs score by balls getting past the catcher. Liriano pitched well for about 4 of the 6 innings he pitched. 2 innings, you know, he was off the reservation. I don't know what's going on with him.
Catcher
He
ain't
needs
done
to
nothing
find
since
himself-
he got the contract.
Well, no, let me tell you something. Liriano throws an absolutely unhittable pitch, and when he throws that slider and it's down and in, it's going to hit the dirt. Cervelli is a much better defensive catcher than Chris Stewart is. That's why he's the number
But
one.
Cervelli's been off since he got signed that contract, hasn't he?
No, he
No,
hasn't.
he just got hurt.
Jim, come on, quit making up stories.
He just got hurt.
He just got he got hurt Friday night.
But
Yeah.
I mean, he has not been performing as well since he signed the contract.
He's doing.
Yeah.
No, you're in the wrong place. Go fishing somewhere else, man. Because this hole's dry. Okay, there's nothing about that. Francisco Cervelli provides more than just what he does with his at bat. He handles the pitching staff. He manages the pitching staff. You know, there's a framing pitches. There's just so many different things that he does, and he does very, very well. You know,
That's the worth $31 million for sure.
You can't make sense out of that.
you can't make sense out of it.
Yeah.
So now,
just move on.
now we've got Cervelli, who's on the DL with hand surgery. You've got McCutchen, who's battling an injured wrist, who's been trying to play through it, which could be part of the reason why he's not hitting the way we know he can, because he's already proven over the last 6 years he is a legitimate 300 hitter, and he will he will turn it around. The players in the field are not what the problem is with the Pirates right now. We've got pitchers in the bullpen. We've got pitchers on the starting pitching staff that we know are capable of producing at a high level, and they are not. This is a problem that is being worked on as we speak. I would not be too surprised if within the next 2 weeks we see Tyler Glasnow come up from Indianapolis and join the pitching staff as well. Taillon was called up today to take Garrett Cole's spot in the rotation. Because you know, he needs some time off for his arm to heal. Nice is working through some issues. Nicasio, you know, he's here, he's there. He may be better out coming out of the bullpen than he is as a starting pitcher.
could be.
But, that all being said, the Pirates are still hovering around 500, and we're 2.5 months into a 6-month season. So I do believe in the next 3.5 months that the Pirates will right the ship. They will get back onto the winning track. They will be a contender for the division title. They will make the playoffs for the 4th year in a row. You've got my guarantee on that, Jim. And, it's just going to take some time for them to work their way through it. The injury bug, it affects everybody. We've had it in years past, but, we've never really had the problem with the pitching staff that we're having this year that we've had in the last 3 or 4.
No, that's true. Can't argue with the thing you're saying. It's
No, and I mean, it's subjective. Don't get me wrong. I love my Pirates. I'm going to defend them with my last dying breath.
Maybe in the offseason we'll spend some money on pitching.
Well, that's the answer to the problem, because that has been proven to be not factual. Time and time again.
He doesn't know who the pitching coach is. Searage. He doesn't know who he is. All the reclamation projects. Has he reclaimed any pitchers?
Being that you're a sports writer with integrity, because you don't like to abuse your press pass, why don't you research your comments, okay, and come up with some facts to back up whether your point is correct or not.
I said before the season that the Pirates pitching is mediocre, and everybody jumped on me. Now everybody's saying what I've been saying.
Right, because the first month of the season they weren't.
You said it's 162 games.
That is
And
right,
I
but
said
when you said that at the beginning of the year, you were wrong. Right now, you would be correct. Okay? Next week, you could be wrong again.
There you heard it, folks.
It's the game of baseball.
How many games have they lost in a row? And I'm still predicting them to win the World Series.
They've lost 5 in a row.
Why?
And you're predicting that they're going to catch the Cubs?
Yes.
Well, Smoking Jim, you just made a statement that you predicted they're going to win the World Series.
And back to back.
With mediocre pitching.
Yeah. Now, how can you even make that statement? After what you criticized Chip, you just said to Chip, you mean that they're going to catch the Cubs? They have to catch the Cubs to win the division.
No, but they can make it as a wild card.
Oh, but then you'd be the object of scorn and ridicule by you, because the wild card in baseball doesn't mean anything. It's not nearly as good as the wild card in football, right?
Because the reason I say that, and you guys have a hard time understanding Ebonics, is the reason that I say that is because
Can you say it slow?
The baseball is a traditional league, and there's never been a wild card team ever in the history of baseball. Now all of a sudden there's wild cards, so I don't count that.
But see,
because
it's the reason let's look at the dynamics of things. Okay, there are now 30 teams in the major leagues. Most of the years there was no more than 24 teams. There was 12. There was 12 teams in a league.
But no matter
now
what,
now that they have 30 teams.
Did you know that?
And the way to generate more interest and to get more people into seeing ball games, into watching ball games later into the year, is by enabling 2 teams, one from each league, to have a chance to earn a wild card spot. Now all of a sudden you're garnering more interest in the game. You're getting more people going through the turnstiles. You're getting higher television ratings. You're getting higher revenue.
But whether there's 20 teams or 40 teams, there's only one champion, and that's all that counts.
How did that happen in football?
The most important.
How did that happen in football?
But football has always been a changing and tweaking, but baseball's been tradition. Now you got this, you do this. But let me ask this one question to you. The most important thing they could have done in baseball, the most famous thing and the best thing they've ever done in baseball was when that ball was juiced. That's what the fans want to see. If you want to get baseball to be popular, start juicing that ball and start getting them home runs up.
And once again, the facts.
McGuire. I had season tickets. Let me just say one thing.
The facts obscure what you're trying to say.
Let me just say one thing.
Okay.
I've had season tickets to the Steelers since I was 4 years old. Never for the Pirates, never for anybody else. When Al McGuire, is that his name? Not Al McGuire. What's his name? McGuire?
Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire, same thing. When Mark McGuire hit that home run,
he was on creatine.
For 69, was it 69 home run?
No.
And in the same game, what did he end up? 70?
It was 62 because he.
No, I mean when he ended up that season with 70 or 60. When he hit the 69th home run, They showed it at Three Rivers Stadium on the Jumbotron. The fans went crazy. And then it looked like it was the same home run because when he hit 70, they interrupted the Steeler game and showed it again. They've never done that in the history of Three Rivers Stadium.
Now, to refute your point, because you don't know what you're talking about again.
I was at the game.
They may have done that.
They stopped the football game for Mark
Attendance in
McGwire.
baseball has never been higher. Television ratings have never been higher. Revenue for Major League Baseball has never been higher. So the way the game's being played now, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
I'm glad corporate America is buying up all the seats. Corporations.
Yeah, because you know what? Every game I go to see is filled with empty seats that were bought up by corporations where nobody's watching.
Wow, I don't know where to go next.
But hey, why don't we talk about tomorrow? Tomorrow, 11:30. There it's going to be Insanity
Parade.
in Pittsburgh. We
Let's
got a
meet down there.
championship parade. I'm not going anywhere near downtown Pittsburgh tomorrow.
You're going to be there, Smoking
If you
Jim.
guys go, I'll go down.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for you.
I'm off work tomorrow.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You
I only
work
work 3 days a year. So
I don't know. We're still
No,
looking
but
into that.
I will tell you this. The Penguins went up 3-1, and everybody pretty much handed them the cup. And I kept on saying to everybody, you know what, the series isn't over yet. And there was a lot of hoopla and uproar. And on Thursday night, there was 40,000 people outside of the arena, 20,000 in the arena. All over the place, and the San Jose Sharks showed up and they beat the Penguins, and that did not surprise me at all. I thought that right there could have potentially been a turning point, because I thought, and I still feel this way, if that series would have gone to 7 games, I would not be wearing this hat nor this shirt tonight. Okay?
I don't know, Chip.
So-
I disagree. I predicted that they'd go to 7 games and win it.
Now,
Because that's the type of, you've got 2 teams, both were 10 games behind come January.
But,
They were both behind the same amount. They come on, they both won
this year,
their division.
This year, they played very well, but I just they don't have my confidence yet that if it came down to a game 7, that I would feel confidence to say they're going to win that game played in our building.
Me and Al disagrees with you.
Well, and that's okay. You can do it. But the one comment I did want to make about the crowd outside the arena, they showed that Pittsburgh, we like to keep it classy, because it looked worse than the Kenny Chesney concert after they got done leaving, because apparently, enjoying watching your hometown hockey team play, doesn't require you to use a garbage can. So the downtown Pittsburgh looked like an open sewer.
Well,
So
I
it was pretty
also-
embarrassing.
gotta
One of
throw
the
your
things that
garbage.
happened is whoever planned it didn't have enough garbage
Right.
cans out there.
Yeah, throw it where you
And
can.
when you put another TV screen in Market Square, nobody even allotted for that. It overwhelmed each area they were at.
This is not the first time that this has happened in this city. Okay, it's happened more frequently on the North Shore than it did in downtown Pittsburgh. But you know what? I know. Oh, well, we didn't anticipate. You're a bunch of morons. That's what
Well-
you get paid to do. You should be thinking about this, because look what's happened in the past.
Well,
History
part of the
repeats
thing
itself.
is whoever the leaders are, they didn't anticipate it. It happened. What was supposed to happen?
Yeah, I agree.
Where were they going to put the garbage trucks,
Well,
garbage cans? You only have so many in an area.
And once you lose your space,
Is
you
it,
can't get it
is
back
it
again.
asking too much for a person to be responsible for finding a way of disposing of their trash other than on the ground?
It got cleaned up.
I mean, it got cleaned up. But my point being, you can't wait.
It's a point well taken. The only problem
Can't
is
wait to see what
when-
Pittsburgh looks like tomorrow. Huh? You get a couple of 100,000 people downtown. You think they might have some plastic bags out there somewhere?
Well,
I wonder if they're going to have a police presence.
there will be. They'll be in the parade. That'll happen there. And Smoking Jim will be leading the parade.
I can't wait, man.
You're going to be there.
If you go, I'll go.
I'm not
No,
going to
but
be there.
I will tell you this. Now that the Penguins have won the cup, and I think this is the time for all of Pittsburgh to just sit back and relax and enjoy what's been 7 long years in coming, because you see
Sure.
that we won that cup in 2009, and we thought this was going to be a regular summer occurrence, that
Yeah.
we're going to be having parades every summer, and
Exactly.
it doesn't work out that way all the time.
No, it doesn't.
enjoy it. The Penguins are going to have some interesting decisions to make because the NHL has
expanding.
agreed to expand, and I don't understand how you expand by one team, but
Las
I'm
Vegas.
sure they figured it out. Las Vegas. So now what that means is that each
Be a
team
wild card team.
is only going to be able to protect. They're going to have to leave a goaltender available to be drafted in the re-entry draft for the new entry into the league. So that means that either Zadkov, Fleury, or Murray, we're going to lose one of the three of them. Okay, and does Marc-Andre Fleury want to be the number 2 goaltender behind Matt Murray here in Pittsburgh? And if he is, he's getting paid 3 times the amount of money that Murray's getting paid. So there's going to be some interesting things that are going to happen. As far as the face of the team, nobody, myself included, wants to see Marc-Andre Fleury leave, but that may end up having to be what happens.
Well, it might be a financial decision.
Well, usually, that does play into it with
Yeah.
the salary cap. The only sport that doesn't have that problem is baseball.
Right.
There is no cap.
That's true. You still won't spend money.
And now, you know what? I want to talk to Jim about about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Woo!
LeBron woke up from his nap. They suspended Draymond Green for a game for whatever kind of shenanigans went on between him and
So he's a thug.
Well, he had to sit out last night. Cleveland came back, won the game. Kylie Irving scored 41. LeBron scored 41. But, are they going to be able to do that 2 more times?
Kevin Love scored 2.
He scored 2 points? Yeah.
2 points.
So the big 3 end up getting 84 points.
Yeah.
Good.
So now they come back to Cleveland because they did this here at the Oracle. And they come back to Cleveland, and you're going to have a fully staffed Golden State Warriors, and to solidify their position as the greatest team of all time,
You're already there.
they got to win the trophy this year.
Well, the one problem that I see, number one, Green is a thug, great player, great at Michigan State. But the problem is I don't know if I would play him in Game 6 because there's a chance that he could get suspended again and would not be available for Game 7. So as a coach, I don't know if I play Draymond Green because the guy cannot help. He's like a Dennis Rodman. He cannot help himself. He's gonna punch you in the Steel City Kickers, and he's going to do something. He's going to grab you. He's going to call you an itch. He's going to do all kind of stuff.
And also, by the same token, when he has played, they've won by 30 points.
He's a great player.
They've won by 30 points. So, I mean,
I let him play.
Personally myself, I'd let him play because you know what? If he does what he's done the rest of the series, you're not going to have to worry about Game 7.
Yeah.
They're going to wrap it up, and they're going to celebrate on Cleveland's home floor, which is about what should happen to Cleveland.
Poor
But
Cleveland.
the big question now is, will Kevin Durant join Golden State next year? And that's the big question.
Well, that is a big question, but I somehow seem to have a feeling that they're going to back up a Brinks truck in front of his place in Oklahoma City, and they're going to. I mean, to be honest with you, Kevin Durant put Oklahoma City on the map.
Yeah.
I mean, without him performing the way he has the last 4 or 5 years in the
him and
NBA,
Westbrook
who would know? I mean, Oklahoma City,
I don't see
knowing
him
that it
going
is a
anywhere.
city in Oklahoma, nobody would know much about it.
That's true. Good point.
Durant's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And I like the kid from Pitt. The center from Pitt is outstanding as well.
Steven Adams.
So they got
Yeah.
him, Westbrook, and Kevin Durant. So
As long as Westbrook and Durant can find a way to peacefully coexist, you got to have that 1-2 punch. I mean, I think every team does it. You got LeBron and Kylie Irving. You've got, you've got Green,
Splash
and
Brothers.
Yeah.
and I think it makes a big difference. I mean, when you're trying to rely on one star, I think that's too much of a burden for one person's shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
In the environment that we're playing in professional sports. So. I don't expect Cleveland to pull off a miracle. I honestly do believe that Golden State is the greatest team of all time. They will cement that when
By
they
winning.
win the championship in 2016.
Well said, Chip. You got it. Well,
He couldn't come back with that one.
we got about 4 minutes left. Smoking Jim, what about boxing this weekend?
Oh man, Al Levine, the talking machine. Looking forward to it. Going back to Mountaineer, it's going to be some great fights. Jaquay Lux, probably the best amateur fighter I've ever seen. He won the junior national championship, knocked out almost everybody in the amateurs, and he fell off the face of the earth for a couple of years. He makes his return, so I'm looking forward to it. Lost all his hair. He's bald-headed now.
No.
I don't know if he lost it or he just cut his hair bald, but looking forward to it, yeah.
What about some boxing at the Meadows?
Boxing at the Meadows, what did I say?
You said Mountaineer.
Oh, I'm sorry, I get my M's
Yeah,
mixed up. The
yeah.
Meadows,
Yeah.
my favorite
What
place.
about Cheyenne Gist?
That's right, Cheyenne's fighting this weekend. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see her.
Joe Board's fighters.
Wow. Is Fred Latham on that card too?
Yep. Yes, he is.
Fred
Fast
Latham.
Freddie.
Fast Freddie, overweight Freddie. It's going to be on that card. So lazy
Yeah.
Freddie. He got a lot of nicknames. So let's see. Let's see, because he got a lot of talent in the
Some
world.
props, and Jim's chopping him down.
He can't help himself.
He
He
down
has.
if he loses.
He
He
has
got a
his-
beautiful sister though. Yeah.
How's he in the ring?
You know what? He got all the tools in the world. He's fast, fast hands, quick. But success is when opportunity and preparedness meets, and he ain't been preparing very well.
That was profound.
lately.
You get that one from
I got that from Al Levine, the talking machine.
I thought you got
All
that from Coach
reading.
Cowher. I thought you
Yeah.
got that from Coach
He
My
might
Cowher.
did.
my favorite coach of all time.
What about Big Chief Morgan Fitch? He's fighting too. He's the
man.
feature fight.
Wow, he's the feature.
Yeah.
Out of New Orleans, and Tommy Yankello had him for a
Undefeated.
lot of years. He's undefeated.
Yeah,
Dang,
yeah.
I'm surprised about that. But him and Jaquay Lux used to go at it in the amateurs. Outstanding. I know Roy Jones Jr. was his promoter there for a while, so it's going to be an outstanding card, and the organization that's bringing them in is second to none.
World Fighting Championships.
Yes,
Matt
sir.
McGovern.
Yes, sir.
He has a 3-series set of fights there. This is the second one.
Wow,
So-
that's great.
We'll have to see what happens there at the Meadows.
What a great day. The day before Father's Day. That's a great day to bring boxing to the city of Pittsburgh.
Well said, Smoking Jim. Where do you come up with these nuggets? Well, we got a minute and a half. Anything else, Smoking Jim?
No.
Chip, anything?
No, I'm just rooting for my Buccos. I know Jamison Tyon's got no hits given up in the first 3 innings.
Really?
Yeah, he's pitching pretty
He's
well.
gotta
How many
do it on-
losses in a row?
They've had 5 losses.
Okay.
You're always looking for the
I
positive.
was wondering.
How come you're like a lawyer?
I knew
You
it was
ask-
5 or 6.
You're like a lawyer. You ask questions that you know the answer to.
No, he's just trying to get my goat, But
It's not working out real
I'm
well.
in this championship euphoria. You see that cup on my shirt?
I know.
It has not runneth over.
Look for the Stanley Cup nearby. Maybe Smoking Jim will get to touch it
I want to
tomorrow.
drink out of the cup.
What are you going to drink? They're not champagne. They got champagne in there. You can't even have
Ginger
it.
ale.
No
Milk.
way. You can't do
It'd be
it.
like the Indy 500, drink milk.
Yeah, he's not doing that. Well, hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks to Jeff on camera. Thanks to Hayden in the control room. Thanks to Ethan come in. I saw him. And Chuck's here. He come in to hold down the fort. We appreciate it. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip the Prophet Hayner, and stay Joey strong.